The car was packed with an estimated 110 pounds of TNT. It exploded in mid-afternoon across the street from a hospital in a West Beirut residential district. The person who was killed and the 6 people injured were all passers-by. None of the Syrian troops manning a checkpoint 75 yards from the hospital were hurt. A nurse at the hospital said the force of the blast hurled most patients out of bed. The explosion marks the 20th car bombing in Lebanon this year. It also raises the number of people killed in such bombings to 116, and the number wounded to 279. No group has claimed responsibility for this latest blast, but the Syrians blame right-wing Lebanese Christians.
I saw great importance in striking at Jebril's headquarters and training center. Our goal was basically to disrupt their ability to prepare and launch terrorist attacks against Israel in conjunction with our ongoing security operations along Israel's northern border. This is an area where you might know the Syrians are deployed. I would like to make it clear now that there was no contact with Syrian forces. There was no exchange of gunfire with the Syrians throughout the operation. During the operation, 4 soldiers lost contact with the main body of the forces. Towards the end of the operation, when daylight was about to appear, the chief of the general staff had to make a decision whether to evacuate the bulk of the force or to remain in the area. The chief of staff decided to have the main force evacuated.
The Israeli fighter bombers swooped in off the Mediterranean and hammered the guerrilla headquarters with bombs and rockets. A number of buildings as well as an ammunition dump were destroyed in the raids, which were also used to support ground troops helicoptered into the area. Palestinian Druze and Sh'ite militiamen fought back with outdated anti-aircraft guns as well as small arms fire. Palestinian sources said that many civilians were wounded in the action, which was the largest operation carried out by the Israelis in Lebanon since the 1982 invasion. People tried to flee the area as the battle raged, while in Jerusalem, the Israeli military claimed the raid was a success.
The results of this operation was at least 20 terrorists were killed in the headquarters and training centers. We did not have any contact, as I said, with the Syrians, and we consider the operation to be very, very successful.
4 Israeli soldiers became separated from their unit and took refuge in this hilltop monastery. Israeli warplanes bombed it while helicopter gunships mounted a successful rescue mission. As the fighting continued, Secretary of State Shultz attended a NATO meeting in Brussels. He gave the Israeli operation a cool response.
And I'll just have to learn more about it before I make any comment about it. But I had thought by this time the Israelis would have learned their lesson about putting troops well inside of Lebanon.
يعني هذا الجيش الإسرائيلي من خلال السلاح والعتاد الذي تركه في أرض المعركة.
The 9-hour battle at Na'ameh, just south of Beirut, was the deepest penetration by Israeli forces into Lebanese territory since they withdrew at the end of their occupation 5 years ago. The effect of the bombardment by jets, helicopters and gunboats is clear, and Israel claimed a major victory against an important headquarters of the militant Palestinian PFLP General Command. However, the operation nearly went seriously wrong. A senior Israeli army officer was killed, 4 soldiers were wounded, and another 4 were trapped for several hours. An operation that was meant to have been swift and incisive turned into a 9-hour battle. The trapped soldiers were only rescued after the fiercest of bombardments by the Israelis. The whole operation brought condemnation from the United States and Britain. The Israelis are also accused of using trained dogs equipped with special saddles to carry gas and explosives past defenses and into the underground network of bunkers at the base. 2 dogs were reportedly shot before they could pose any danger, their saddles now emptied. One of the dead mastiffs was put on display, apparently the first victim of a barbaric new warfare in the Middle East, which will find few sympathizers. Palestinians have asked for an urgent meeting of the Security Council to debate the attack.